Looks like they want fire. I think I can help them. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today's main objective is to unlock the rest of the map. I then go on a fairy hunt to upgrade my armor, and return to locations based on the comments from the last episode. If you see something I missed, or want me to go to a specific location, give me hints as I'm not looking up guides and I don't want spoilers. The full playlist of this entire series is in the description. The next tower I wanted to unlock was between Woodland and Akala. I really wanted to see the volcano on the map. My original plan was to scale the mountain, but I got distracted by a Korok Seed challenge. Once I popped the balloon on the first try, I decided it was best to take the normal path because I was too lazy to go back up. It was pretty easy getting up, however, I realized the problem I've been ignoring this whole time. I'm using my cool weapons too much, and they're going to break soon. I've known from the first episode that you can't craft weapons, and if you can't craft, I assume you can't repair either. Luckily, I've taken photos of the weapons I've liked, so they're in the database, which tells me the general location of where they can be found. But then this brings up a thought I had about the Master Sword. It would feel weird if the weapon that banishes all evil could break. I just wouldn't have it anymore. I'm going to guess it doesn't break, or you can repair it. But it's the only weapon that can be repaired. Although me being correct doesn't change the outcome of me wielding all the boomerangs as my only weapons. You might think I'm kidding when I say that, but I'm eager to disappoint. When I got to the base of the tower, I looked at the volcano and noticed what I definitely think was the divine beast running around it. I don't really have a clear picture in my head of what these fights will look like, but fighting on a volcano just seems awesome. With the tower unlocked, I could finally see the volcano on the map, and the first thing that caught my eye was the Goron Hot Springs. I remember meeting somebody who told me to visit it, and I was eager to enter, but then the temperature marker burst into flames. I would have died a painful death if I kept going, so I decided to head for the next tower. With the top right quadrant of the map unlocked, I set my sights on the left side of the map. I went to the Serene Stable to grab egg for the journey. It's moments like this that really make me enjoy the game. I know it's simple, but being able to ride a horse across the map is something I didn't know I wanted, but I'm really glad is a feature. Unfortunately, when I got up to the mountain, Egg's temperature also decreased, and since I didn't know if I could feed her anti-cold resistant food like the spicy peppers, I decided to be cautious. I put my winter gear on and made the rest of the journey on foot without Egg. On the mountain, I saw some moose. I haven't mentioned it yet, but the fact there's actual animals in the wild makes the game feel so much more alive. One of my fears at first when playing this game was if it was going to be like an empty sandbox, but I can see that I should actually have expectations for these games, unlike Pokemon. I've also seen the comments about selling premium meat, and I've met the guy at one of the other stables who buys it for 100 rupees. This might be a better method than the bird flying guy to get a lot of wealth in this game. Eventually, like all roads I take in this game, it leads me to a stable. I guess I could have brought Egg, but I didn't want to run the risk of him dying of hypothermia, as I mentioned earlier. At the stable, I run into Beetle and sell some items. I talk to the people in the stable. One mentions the Master Sword, another mentions a maze to check out, and I get a side quest to take a picture of a stall horse. Another stable means another shrine, and this one was interesting. The fans guide the ball into the hole that raises the giant platform to the spirit orb. The question now becomes, how do I be on the platform and get the ball in the hole at the same time? The answer for me was the metal cubes. I would grab one of the metal cubes and cover the hole with it. I then placed the ball right next to the block. The last step was to sit on the platform and grab the block with the magnet and lift it up, which allows the ball to go into the hole. Once at the top, I noticed the chest that needed the 2 metal cubes to act as the bridge. I just had to repeat this whole process again to get the second cube, which let me get another ancient core and the spirit orb. Back outside, I realized I've run out of the cold resistant food. I need to collect more spicy peppers. Right now I'm running on the assumption that every blood moon resets everything in the world. So I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I do know I am able to go back to spots to get food. So this is helpful as I can just go back periodically and not have to waste time trying to find new locations for food I already know, which is really good. Back on the mountain, I pinged some towers, was amazed by winter rhinos, and finally saw what the last dragon looked like. I would have followed it, but the guy making the giant snowball got my attention more. His name was Pondo, and he introduced me to my favorite minigame so far, Pondo Bowling. The game is simple. Roll the ball down the hill and hit the pins. Just like bowling. When I got a strike, I got a blizzard rod, and then spares hitting 8 to 9 pins got me rupees. I don't think this is a solid method to farm rupees. This is because I would need to eat cold resistant food to even be up here. While I think this is fun, I don't think this is an infinite money scheme because of the food requirement. At the base of the tower, it was covered in giant ice spikes. I used flame sword to burn them and climb the tower. I then went back to Hadano village to collect the stamina vessel, and I met Neb, who wanted to see a traveler's sword for a side quest. Seems interesting, but I'm focused on finding towers right now. At the top of the tower, I got a much better look at the flying divine beast. It appears to just be flying around in circles. While at this moment in time, I'm not interested in fighting them. Next episode, I will fight one of them, and I'll explain my plan at the end of this video. Climbing down from the tower, I fought a camp of lizards, all with really powerful weapons, most notably, a stronger boomerang. I got really excited and got rid of my weaker one. This makes me one step closer to my ultimate dream. After defeating the camp, I noticed a shrine under the hill with a river flowing between. I tried using ice pillars, but they were too tall, and if I jumped in, I would have been fighting the current and the freezing temperature. Now, I may not have a brain, but I have an idea. On the other side of the hill, the current was going to the shrine. My plan was to jump in and eat food when my health got too low. I'm able to do this because I can get into my inventory, which stops me from freezing and taking damage. I think it's fair game, but let me know if this is kind of being cheeky. Once inside the shrine, I got 300 rupees and the spirit orb. Outside the shrine, there was a log, and I decided to let the current guide me. While sitting on this log, I want to take the time to thank everyone for watching this series. I'm currently prepping this video in November, and this is a really difficult month because every single university prof decides now is the time to make everything due. It makes the month really not fun, and leads right into exam season. It's given me a lot of time to think about what I want this channel to be though. I originally wanted my channel to be Pokemon focused, but I think I want to change that. I'm having a lot of fun with this game, and there are probably lots of games and genres I haven't played that get me excited thinking about it. The point of this ramble is that when things get busy, I want to prioritize what I'm enjoying the most, and making these kind of videos is the thing keeping me going right now. I think putting more time and resource into Breath of the Wild is what my gut is telling me to do. I have plans for other videos and other series, but I want to be more present and fully enjoy this game before focusing on next steps. Existential crisis aside, I finally got out of the snowy mountain and was in just regular mountain terrain. I was able to get a much closer look at the Divine Beast and the town I needed to head to for its quest. Overall, this section of the map is really cool in my opinion. When I was younger in Minecraft, I would always try to create a mountain home simply because it could help you scope out the entire land, and something about living in the clouds just resonated with me. Once I got to the tower, it was covered in Ganon's sludge, and using similar tactics as last time, I just climbed through to unlock the tower. Looking around from the top, I noticed two shrines. One that looked like it was in one of the memory photos, and the other near a stable. My plan was to go to the memory one first, but on the way, I noticed a fairy fountain. I mean, it was in front of the tower, so it's going to be hard to miss, but still, an upgrade to defense you don't plan for is never a bad thing. The other thing that caught my eye in this area is the actual fairies. I can't catch them and it bothers me. My guess is that I need to buy stealth armor and some food to make it much easier. From the fountain, I went straight to the memory shrine, completing a couple Korok puzzles and fighting moblins before arriving at the location.
Nothing. Just as I thought. It appears that this structure was designed to be exclusively accessed by the sword's chosen one. But designs can always be worked around. At least I hope. How do I get inside? I need to activate it somehow. I thought I made it clear that I'm not in need of an escort. It seems I'm the only one with a mind of my own. I, the person in question, am fine, regardless of the king's orders. Return to the castle and tell that to my father, please. And stop following me!
This memory was in stark contrast to the other ones I've previously seen. Last episode, I made the guess that the memories tell the story of the events leading to Calamity Ganon and what everybody was doing to stop it. This memory makes me think the placements of the memories in the database reflect a linear timeline. This means that this one we just saw was the third memory of Zelda, while the last episodes I've seen memory 6, 7, 9, 10, and 11. So far, I've only seen what Zelda was doing to stop Ganon and how Zelda and Link got close. This one tells the story of them starting their journey. Zelda, who clearly doesn't listen to her father, is mad Link is following her, thinking it's her dad saying she can't handle the world on her own. I'm assuming Link follows the orders because he's been trained his whole life to be a knight, and at this point does not understand Zelda's feelings or goals. I'm curious to see what happens in Memories 4 and 5 to make Zelda transition from this to enjoying Link's company. I'm also curious to see if Link sticks around just for orders or because he also enjoys Zelda's company. I'm starting to think if King Rome were to appear in these memories, it would be in the first two, because the first one I'm assuming is Hyrule Castle. My other guess would be 8, since that also looks like Hyrule Castle. The 9th memory was Zelda venting her frustration at her dad, telling her to quit being a scholar, so maybe the 8th memory was him literally telling her to stop being a scholar. Again, do not tell me if I'm right or wrong. I'm mainly saying all this as a future prediction to look back on and see if I was right or wrong when I actually get to these points in the game. The stable shrine was a puzzle, so I actually did it. This one was simple. Stasis the ball mid-air, hit it with an arrow, and the change of momentum let it roll down the hill into the hole. With the piston moving, I glided over the ball to get the chest. The second time on the piston, I pulled out my bow mid-air to hit the lantern, which unlocked the door to get the spirit orb. At the stable, I met a guy who wanted me to go to the fairy fountain I already visited, and he gave me 500 rupees. This is a benefit of talking to NPCs. They tell you cool locations, and even if you already went there, there is a potential for side quests and rewards that help make life a little easier. They typically say you save the best for last, but for me, this wasn't the case. I had no idea where this last tower was. I wasn't able to see from looking around. Luckily, this is a pretty small section of the map, so I can't imagine it would take me long. I was wrong. My first stop was actually going back to the first fairy fountain. I mainly wanted to see what I needed to upgrade the champion's tunic and the barbarian helm. This point in the game had me thinking about the different kinds of armors and stat benefits. I'm happily rocking the Hylian outfit because I like it aesthetically, but I'm starting to get to the point where I'm no longer poor, and I believe getting and upgrading different armor sets can set me up for better success. After pondering at the fountain, I decided to make my first guess of the location at the top of the giant snowy mountain. I first went to Wasteland Tower, pinged a couple shrines, and started making my way to climb the mountain from that area. For some reason, I didn't decide to drop down into any of the spots I saw on my glide, and instead fell to my death. When reviewing the footage of my blunder, I noticed I shield surfed. Didn't even know this was a thing, and no, I didn't try it again because I only noticed it when writing this part out and looking back at the footage. So I'll need to figure out what buttons I was mashing as I fell to my death because I really want to try this. I then decided to start the path from the Great Plateau instead of Wasteland, so I didn't waste time and stamina gliding. When I got to the base of the mountain, boss music started. I was very confused seeing this mini-boss for the first time, and perplexed when my arrows and boomerangs were doing no damage. It was a pretty slow boss, and when I saw its back with the black stone, I destroyed the stone and finally learned how it took damage. I was slowly chipping away at it. But then an even greater enemy swooped in and one-shotted me. Myself. The second attempt went much easier, although I had to keep my distance since it could throw its arms at me. Once it was defeated, it dropped a lot of ores. As of now, the only thing I can do with the ores is sell them to make money. Even if I could make something with them, I think the money I make off of them is more beneficial, mainly to buy new armor or items from Beetle. With my hardest battle out of the way, it was time to climb the mountain. I was very confident I would be able to find the tower when I got to the top, but I was dead wrong. I went all over the mountain, collected Korok seeds, got to a shrine checkpoint, saw a cool art pattern with lightning bolts, saw a golden claymore, which I left behind. Eventually, I did manage to spot the tower at the bottom at the other side of the mountain. I never saw it from Wasteland Tower because it was hidden by the mountain. When I got to the tower, Cass was there to give me another shrine quest. And then I finally unlocked the entire map. With the entire map now available, the first thing I did, I decided to jump off the tower to see if the bottomless pit led anywhere. It did not. It feels like I've entered a new stage of the game. I would say for myself, everything up until this point has been foundation building. I have a very broad understanding of the world, and now it is time to get into the details. I probably spent a week between unlocking the last tower and these new clips, just thinking about my next steps. My favorite part of this game was the ease in which it brought me and kept me in this world. Even in a post-Calamity Ganon world, the villages, the stables, monster camps bring so much life into this game that I'm fully immersed in the world and I am very excited playing this game. The thing I wanted to do the most right now is test a game theory about the Great Fairies. I had it in my mind that if you pinned all of the fairy fountains on the map, it would make the shape of a triangle. My logic here is that triangles have been a popular symbol in the game, basically being on all of the knight's equipment, and also the fact there's 3 springs and 3 dragons, so in my head I was thinking 3 fairies. My first action was to star the 2 fountains and look for a third spot. I ended up deciding on the mini lake with trees all around it in the desert. I started to make my way into the desert, but then a massive sandstorm blocked both my vision and the map. I tried getting higher ground to get my bearings, but instead got distracted by a lizard who wanted to fight, but also couldn't see its surroundings, so it fell down the hill, which was kind of funny. I decided to chase it since my boomerang was down there as well. Also, during this whole trip, I drank a fire resistance potion, thinking it would prevent me from being too hot, but forgot about heat resistant food. I'm 90% sure looking back I could have used this potion in the volcano area and could have continued going down that path. I hope I'm wrong, but my gut is telling me I did not make a smart decision using it here. While thinking about the consequences of my actions, I did my best Zorro impersonation and got lost. I tried climbing back up the mountain and accidentally ended up near a shrine somehow. This trial, I felt like would have been incredibly difficult if I didn't have my Thunder Sword. I noticed these lamps around the trial that would only be activated through electricity. I figured this out by removing the mini generator from the power line and it shut off the ramp. I realized the only way I could get to the part of the maze to get this mini generator without shutting down the platform was to hit the lamp on the other platform with my sword until I got to the roof. Once on the roof, I was greeted by robots, but used my bomb arrows to defeat them instantly. I opened the third chest, I got an ancient core. If you've been keeping count in this series, this is my third one. This means I can now upgrade stasis, so I'm looking forward to that. After this point in the trial, it got really easy. I hit the lantern to activate the platform, found a secret bottom floor with 100 rupees in the chest, grabbed the generator to bring it up to that highest floor to power the platform, which led me to the spirit orb and a really cool shield. Luckily, after beating this trial, enough time had passed where it was no longer a sandstorm, and I could actually see the area I believed a fairy fountain would be. Before seeing if I was correct, something terrifying happened. Aside from the sheer size of the beast, my biggest takeaway from the cutscene was the lightning. If I had to fight the beast without any metallic weapons, that might be pretty tough. I don't really want to throw away any of my items, and I haven't found a chest or place where I could store them. My immediate idea will be to get more seeds to get more slots that hold non-metallic weapons. When I got to the location, my guess was incorrect. It was a small village or outpost. It had some cool fruit. I met Guy who gave me a side quest related to cool insects. Then I met one of the locals who called me a Vo. I ran into a hotel that sold all types of arrows. Finally, I met Rip, who told me because I was a Vo, I couldn't enter the city or the oasis. Talking to her some more, I learned it was that Vo males couldn't enter the city. I guess the whole sand area operates similar to the Amazon lily. Then, immediately after the conversation, I found a memory spot by accident. I'm not trying to get them as fast as I can, but when the opportunities keep arising to find them, I'm not going to say no. I was on the money with the fourth and fifth memories being the turning point of Zelda not wanting Link around to enjoying his company. I'm hoping the fifth memory gives us more context to Zelda's thoughts of transitioning from go away to stay, because this memory was pretty straightforward. My next guess for another possible location for a fairy fountain was what looks like a mini lava pool near the hot springs. It fits the triangle shape theme. My path to get there was to fly from Woodland Tower, going around the mountainside, making a pit stop at these ruins because I wanted to see them before heading to the star. Before setting out on my journey, I upgraded stasis. The upgrade was 100% worth the wait, letting me now freeze enemies for a short time. This sounds broken depending on if size isn't a factor when stopping them. I also collected hardy fruit and got more inventory slots. On the way to the ruins, I tested stasis on a moblin and it stopped moving for a couple seconds. In this state, I was able to disarm it and quickly defeat it. While only one enemy, this shows a lot of potential as a broken mechanic. I then fought a lizard who dropped one of my favorite weapons so far, a boomerang. You can definitely tell I like to have a variety of weapons and don't pick favorites. When I got to the ruins, it was in the middle of a sludge lake and surrounded by smog. Naturally, this very inviting atmosphere made me jump off the rock and head towards it. Turns out, it's a shrine quest, and because the game stopped me midair, I just fell into the sludge. I'm noticing a theme with the overworld shrines, and that some of them take away something from the player. This one takes away sight, and the island takes away your inventory. I wonder if there's any more shrines that fit this theme, like taking away runes or movement speed. Eventually, I found a way to enter the island, and I could start the trial. Currently, the only way I can generate light is with the Great Flame Blade. It led me to see the Fire Rod, which I used to generate a lot of light by throwing it around everywhere. I noticed glowing stones, and then finally saw the ruins. Throwing the fire around on the grass, it generated a wind tunnel, and I used that to fly around. Eventually finding what I believed to be a Hynix with a ball around its neck. When the fire rod broke, I wanted to test if I activated a rune, would it generate light, and sure enough it did. With the rune's help, I was able to get a better picture of my surroundings. It led me to a bunch of undead enemies, and another fire rod. I used this to light up all the bird statues in the area. My thought process was similar to Lost Forest, where I was trying to light them all, and I was fighting them by going in the direction of the beaks. I ended up in a hole and realized I needed to beat the Hynix to get the ball to put it in the hole. I guess the darkness hindered its abilities as well, because I just kept throwing my boomerang, knocking it over, and then attacking it in close range. Eventually, I realized if I aimed for the ball, it would detach from the necklace. I picked it up, placed it in the hole, and the shrine appeared. After beating the Hynix, I went inside the shrine to collect an ancient core and the spirit orb. Overall, a cool shrine quest. I went back to Korok Forest to cook some more food, and because I didn't want to try and lead the ruins by walking, mainly because I didn't know how to get out of it. When I got to the volcano area, I remembered that I instantly burst into flames. This is the part where I wish I kept the flame resistance elixir, but I'm an idiot, so I used it in the sand area. While regretting my life choices, I started to think I could get another one. I know you need monster parts and bugs, so I wanted to head to Fang and Bone and see what Clinton had for sale. I went to Hawes to figure out where he was, and he told me Lake Akala. I went to the nearest shrine to find him, and sure enough, in the distance, I found his shop. And a fairy fountain. I'd like to tell you that I'm some kind of genius who figured it out, but it was pure luck. If Clinton was anywhere else on my map, I wouldn't have found the fountain. Before waking up the fairy, I went to Fang and Bone. Clinton provided me with context to his shop. Since he wanted to avoid taxes, he built his own currency, which he sells to me for monster parts. After selling some stuff, I finally opened his real shop, and I was a little disappointed. The 5 monster extracts were cool, but the mop is lame, and this mask is pretty weak. I'm sure putting it on won't do anything. Okay, I take it back, it's pretty cool. When I got to the fairy fountain, she demanded 1,000 rupees. Maybe it's a good thing Fang and Bone is off grid, because I wouldn't have been able to afford this otherwise. With a solid defense buff, I was pretty happy. Although now I don't know how many fountains there are. My guess is there'd be 5 for 5 stars, but I wouldn't be surprised if 3 was just a number based on the shield argument I made earlier. After talking with the fairy, I went to the nearby statue to collect more heart vessels based on the comments from last time. I'll need a lot more to pull the Master Sword. A new tradition I'm gonna start doing now is directly incorporating hints and location tips from the comment section. I'm very appreciative for the help, and it's nice to see a lot of positivity on the internet. My only request will be, if you're going to provide a hint for beating a shrine or some kind of clue to find something, be relatively vague. Some of the hints have felt a little spoilerly, if that's the right word for that. Or maybe the hint just made it too easy for me. I'm very thankful for them. I just don't want to over-rely on them to get out of tricky situations. Also, let me know if this video I'm not going to attach the comments, because I saw a lot of them. But if you guys want me to pull exact comments and put them in the videos, let me know. There were a lot of comments pointing to specific locations. One that immediately caught my eye was the second chest at the speed of light. I thought I got all of the chests in the shrine, but I missed the chest in the monk room. This was a bit tricky to figure out, since making the water rise would lift the barrel and then close the door to the monk room. But I needed the water to rise to get the chest. I put my archery skills to the test and managed to hit the lantern and get into the room in time to open the chest. This is the best day of my life. I then went up the skull at Woodland Tower and got, I think, my most powerful weapon so far, the Royal Claymore. Being this high up, I also wanted to throw the giant boomerang. That felt really satisfying. I then went to the bottom of the labyrinth but I might have been stupid because I didn't find anything. The comment said under, so maybe I didn't need to think of it literally under. Maybe I could have gone underneath that wind tunnel at the shrine, or maybe I just missed it altogether. I then wanted to buy the stealth armor. A lot of comments told me it would be helpful in a lot of areas. I sold the surplus of ores in my inventory, bought the armor, and enhanced it to 1 star. But I will definitely need to farm a lot more of the flowers, and to get to 2 stars I'll also need bugs. I know Beetle sells them, so I'll run around to the different stables to try and buy more. At one of the stables, I did buy butterflies, remembering the comment about combining it with monster parts. When I took them together, this is how I figured out to make elixirs. But my only issue though is that the parts I bought only made heat resistant, not fireproof. Maybe monster extract makes it stronger, or I need higher quality monster parts. Either way, I have a baseline which I can build upon to help me figure out what I need to get these proper elixirs, because I believe if I get the fire one, I can actually go into the volcano area. I then went to the dye shop to make it black stealth armor, and tried to mix and match colors of my Hylian outfit, but then I realized after looking at it, I just preferred the monocolor outfits. I also tried to dye the champion's tunic, but it can't change colors. A little disappointing, and another reason I won't use it. I then went back to Fateful Stars, and this hint in particular was why I put the disclaimer at the beginning of this segment. The comments, I feel like, gave it away, because I just read it and figured out I just needed to count the stars on the wall, and then correlate it to the columns and place the ball depending on how many stars were on the wall. To unlock the chest in the area, you just had to change it to the number of stars that were above its wall. After beating the shrine pretty easily, I then went to try the Korok trials, but I didn't have any of the inventory slots to start it, so I'll need to find more seeds or a chest or location I can store items into, because I don't know if I drop something, if it will despawn or not. I assume it does, just based on how other games work, and I don't really want to get rid of a lot of the stuff in my inventory. Leaving the Lost Forest, I wanted to test if stealth armor made it easier to catch horses. At the Highland stable, I attempted to catch them, but the horses ran away. I didn't give up because I noticed these horses were moving a lot faster than I normally see them. I managed to corner and tame one to find out it has 4 stars in speed. I named it Sugar. I wanted to test this speed, so I took it back to the horse hill and decided to actually climb the mountain. Even though I didn't see the green aura, blind ignorance assumed it would appear the next night. I had no proof it would, but I just did it anyway. Once up the mountain, I saw a cool rainbow. Not relevant to the story, but it was a cool view. Might have found the best spot for chili peppers now, and detected a shrine with my radar. The puzzle was fun, and was focused around the magnet. I first created momentum to swing to the next platform, used fire arrows to burn down the bridge, hit the lantern from a far distance, slowly moved the spiky balls so I don't get hit, got a chest with a bow that fires 3 arrows at once, pretty cool. Slided the metal platforms around to uncover a chest with 300 rupees. Then get up to the giant metal doors, burn all the leaves and wood with a fire arrow, open the metal doors to get the spirit orb. When I got out of the shrine, somehow my intuition was correct. I think I just got lucky again. The mountain was glowing green. I made my way up, and I can tell you I was not expecting to find a bunch of spirit animals running around. In the middle of the pool of water, there was what I think was a horse, but not 100% sure. But when I tried to get close to it, it disappeared. I wanted to wait for it to come back and try to tame it, because if I could ride a spirit horse or spirit creature into battle, that might make this my favorite game of all time. When it came back, I ran around behind it. Managed to mount it, but I didn't have enough stamina, and when I fell off, it unfortunately became daytime, and the mysterious creature was gone. I went back to Dual Peak Stables to cook some more endurance food and sleep until nighttime again. But the glowing aura was not there. I probably spent almost an hour skipping nights trying to get it to come back. I went to the other side of the map at night and then go back to that side of the map at day, but I got, or other way around, sorry, and I got nothing. I don't want to say I gave up. But I'm not going to put this on hold and waste hours trying to get it to appear again. I'll just go back to the mountain once it's green aura again, because I have the endurance food now. Thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, consider liking and subscribing to support the channel. If you want to support me even more, consider becoming a member, as any money I make will just go back into the channel to help improve my ability to make videos. With the map finally unlocked, next episode, I want to fight a divine beast. I don't have a preference for who I want to fight first, so I'm going to put that decision in your hands. As soon as this video goes live in my post tab, I will be putting up a poll, which will close the following Tuesday. The winner of the poll will be the first divine beast I fight. Overall, this episode felt very productive. I'm excited to tackle more mainline quests now. I've done my major exploration, and I'm just very excited to get into the details of these areas now. I saw some comments last time about amiibos as well. I don't know if I will get them. I can't seem to find anything online or near me. Maybe I need to try to go to an EB Games or something. Also, if anyone has good boomerang locations, please drop them. I want to beat the divine beasts using only boomerangs. I don't know if it's possible, but I want to try. I'll see you guys next time.